The lights inside the arena in Tokyo blaze down onto the ring, illuminating a battlefield where two completely different warriors were about to collide. The crowd buzzed with anticipation, thousands of fans leaning forward in their seats, sensing that this fight could explode at any moment. On one side stood the former champion, Satoru Kitaoka, a compact powerhouse known for his relentless grappling and dangerous submission game. Thick legs like tree trunks, a body built for grinding pressure, and a reputation for ripping submissions out of desperate opponents. 14 of his victories had come by submission, and every opponent who faced him knew the danger of letting him grab hold of a limb. But across the ring stood a man who thrived in chaos. Jorge Masvidal, the Cuban street fighter. Training out of American Top Team in Florida, Masvidal carried the calm confidence of someone who had fought in every environment imaginable. His posture was loose, almost relaxed, but his eyes told a different story. Sharp, focused, calculating. Physically, the contrast between the two fighters was striking. Kitaoka was shorter, stockier, built like a bulldog ready to charge. Masvidal, on the other hand, looked long and rangy. His arms stretched out like spears, giving him a reach advantage that could punish anyone trying to close the distance. The bookmakers had Kitaoka as the favorite, but some inside the arena weren't so sure. When the bell rang, Kitaoka wasted no time shooting forward, diving for control. Masvidal immediately wrapped his arms around the neck, threatening a quick guillotine choke before the fight even had a chance to settle. The opening seconds were frantic. Already the grappler was hunting submissions, and already the striker was looking to punish every mistake. This wasn't just a fight. It was a clash of styles, submission master versus street fighter, and the violence had only just begun. As the first round unfolded, Satoru Kitaoka stuck to the only strategy he knew: relentless grappling pressure. He shot in again, grabbing Masvidal's leg and dragging the fight toward the mat. From there, the Japanese veteran immediately began searching for submissions. Heel hooks, leg locks, anything that could twist a joint and end the fight instantly. For a moment, it looked dangerous. Kitaoka rolled underneath, clamping onto Masvidal's leg in a desperate attempt to wrench the ankle apart. But Jorge Masvidal stayed composed. Instead of panicking, the Cuban began raining down punches with those long arms. Every strike hammered into Kitaoka's face as the submission specialist desperately clung to the leg. The sound echoed through the arena. Thud, thud, thud. Masvidal's fists were landing like heavy stones. Kitaoka refused to let go, gripping the leg like a pit bull with a bone. But the punishment was relentless. Masvidal's long reach allowed him to strike again and again while staying just out of danger. The crowd could see it happening. The tide was turning. Kitaoka's face began to swell. His breathing grew heavier. Blood started to appear around his nose. Still, the former champion kept hunting submissions. A heel hook attempt, another leg lock, anything to change the momentum. But every attempt cost him another barrage of punches. Masvidal continued to hammer down strikes, smashing fists into the jawline and temple of his opponent. By the end of the round, the damage was undeniable. Kitaoka staggered back to his corner, exhausted and battered. His nose looked broken, his breathing was labored, and across the cage stood Masvidal, barely sweating. The Cuban street fighter had survived the submission storm. Now the real destruction was about to begin. As the second round began, the crowd sensed something ominous in the air. Satoru Kitaoka stepped forward again, but the damage from the first round was already visible. His breathing was heavy, his movements slower, The punishment he had absorbed was beginning to take its toll. Still, the veteran refused to abandon his plan. He shot in once more, desperately grabbing hold of Masvidal's leg and attempting another submission. For a brief second, the danger returned. Kitaoka twisted for a heel hook, threatening to tear apart the Cuban's knee. But Jorge Masvidal slipped free with sharp instincts. The moment the submission attempt failed, Masvidal exploded. He drove a crushing knee into Kitaoka's body and followed with brutal ground strikes. Punch after punch rained down as the former champion struggled to defend himself. The crowd roared as Masvidal unleashed a storm of violence. Kitaoka tried to scramble, tried to grab a leg, tried to survive, but the Cuban smelled blood. Masvidal stood over him and launched a devastating right hand. Boom! The punch landed clean on the jaw. Kitaoka collapsed to the canvas instantly. The referee rushed forward, waving the fight off as Masvidal stepped away calmly. It was over. The arena erupted in shock. The bookmakers had favored Kitaoka, but tonight belonged to the Cuban street fighter. Masvidal raised his hands, barely out of breath, after delivering one of the most dominant performances of the night. Doctors rushed into the cage to check on Kitaoka, who remained on the canvas after the brutal beating. For the former champion, it was one of the most devastating losses of his career. But for Jorge Masvidal, it was a statement. The Cuban street fighter had just shocked Tokyo, and the world was starting to realize just how dangerous he truly was.